Modeh ani lefanecha, meaning I give thanks, is the morning prayer traditionally sung or recited by Jews before rising from bed. Cantor Spall sang a beautiful version of it to start the service. It offers thanks to God for restoring a person's soul when he or she awakens. The prayer highlights God's mercy and trust in giving a soul back to a person to greet a new day. There is a parallel prayer, Modim Anachnu Lach, a song of gratitude for the blessings that come our way. It's part of our daily liturgy, a prayer to be recited 3 times a day if we'd like. It seems that the ancient liturgists were concerned that folks might not be so good at saying thanks, so better to put it in a script, so we would be sure to express it a few times a day. They probably felt people weren't hardwired to express gratitude, so it was something of which we needed to be continually reminded to do. So before I go further, let me remember to pause and express my deep appreciation and gratitude to all in the Beth Am community who have been a part of our family for so many years. I continue to feel gratitude for being part of this very special synagogue. And while I'm on a roll, to my clergy colleagues and the Beth Am staff who make me a better rabbi and whose study and practice of Judaism inspires and challenges us to do justice, to love kindness, and to walk humbly with our God. And let me, on behalf of all, express gratitude for both the technology that preserved community during the pandemic, and especially for the vaccinations that have enabled many of us to be here together. Perhaps I should echo our matriarch Leah's words after she gives birth to her 4th son. I give thanks to the Eternal. She therefore named him Yehuda, Judah, the root of the word Judah, and therefore Jew is odeh, meaning thanks. It is taught that this is the first time in the Torah that anyone says thank you. The Talmud notes this explicitly. Rabbi Yochanan said in the name of Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai, from the day the Holy One, blessed be God, created the world, no one thanked the Holy One until Leah came and thanked him. As it is stated, this time I will give thanks to God. Judah is prominent in our Torah portion, one that largely deals with the Joseph narrative. It's a terrific Torah portion, aren't they all? One filled with dreams and multicolored coats, seduction and deception. Judah is the one who convinces his brothers not to leave Joseph in a pit to die. Judah also appears in Genesis chapter 38 in a rather strange interlude to the Joseph story with Tamar. At the end of the book of Genesis, it will be Judah who steps forward to free his brother Benjamin, demonstrating that brothers do change. Judah, to be a Jew, meaning to give thanks. In English, to thank often becomes to praise. And Leah's emphasis on gratitude is repeated in other texts, like the Psalms or our prayers. Generally, what people are thankful for is God. And from that gratitude, for everything else flows. The attitude of gratitude is repeatedly praised. As I mentioned earlier, when we rise in the morning, we are expected to recite Modeh Ani. I am grateful to God for bringing life to me each and every day. In the Birkat Hamazon, the blessing after the meals, we thank God for sustaining the world with goodness, kindness, and mercy. Many a Shabbat we sing the words of Psalm 92, Tov lehodot Adonai. It is good to give praise to God. During the day or at night, through which the prayer Modim Anachnu Lach, we are grateful to you. We thank God for our souls, which are in your keeping, for the signs of your presence we encounter every day, and for your wondrous gifts at all time. Modim anachnu lach. In the liturgy, it's one of the concluding prayers of the Amidah, which calls us to awareness to the constant miracles that are with us each day. As the Yom Kippur prayer book teaches, what is ever present soon becomes commonplace, and its wonders are too often ignored. The Thanksgiving blessing reminds us that miracles need not be supernatural or extraordinary events. If we pay attention, the smallest details of our surroundings and the very regularity of nature's law can evoke awe. Modim anachnu lach has an interesting structure too. Generally in Hebrew, like in English, the verb does not come before the subject. Thanks we are to you. Thanks I am. An odd sentence structure. And as Rabbi Shai Held teaches, the phrasing is actually instructive. One cannot acknowledge the self, the I, the me, until one has first said thanks. On this weekend of our holiday of Thanksgiving, it is good to remember the daily importance of expressing our gratitude, whether it is in a time of blessing or a time of trial. A Yehudi, a Jew, the descendants of Judah, ideally is a human being who, like our matriarch Leah, can find her way to gratitude. Switching gears, and on this Thanksgiving, with a tribute to our matriarch Leah, let me share one of my favorite poems about gratitude by the former U.S. Poet Laureate, Billy Collins. The other day, I was ricocheting slowly off the blue walls of this room, moving as if underwater from typewriter to piano, from bookshelf to an envelope lying on the floor, when I found myself in the L section of the dictionary, where my eyes fell upon the word lanyard. No cookie nibbled by a French novelist could send one into the past more suddenly. A past where I sat at a workbench at a camp by a deep Adirondack lake, learning how to braid long, thin plastic strips into a lanyard, a gift for my mother. I had never seen anyone use a lanyard or wear one, if that's what you did with them. But that did not keep me from crossing strand over strand again and again until I had made a boxy red and white lanyard for my mother. She gave me life and milk from her breasts, and I gave her a lanyard. She nursed me in many a sick room, lifted spoons of medicine to my lips, laid cold face cloths on my forehead, and then led me out into the airy light, and taught me to walk and swim, and I, in turn, presented her with a lanyard. Here are thousands of meals, she said, and here is clothing and a good education, and here is your lanyard, I replied, which I made with a little help from a counselor. Here is the breathing body and a beating heart, strong legs, bones, and teeth, and two clear eyes to read the world, she whispered. And here, I said, is the lanyard I made at camp. And here I wish to say to her now is a smaller gift, not the worn truth, that you can never repay your mother, but the rueful admission that when she took the two-tone lanyard from my hand, I was as sure as a boy could be that this useless, worthless thing I wove out of boredom would be enough to make us even. Shabbat Shalom.